Pull up the comments here. You can see the comments, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, man. Man, oh, man. People starting to funnel in. Excited to get this thing going.
Let's do this. Y'all twins. We're coming in hot, Peter Johnson.
Long
It's
lost
funny.
twins.
It's funny because when I told my wife, I was like, I'm gonna be doing some stuff with Bartle. She's like, I always hear the name. I've heard his stuff, but what does he look like? And then the first thing she said, she's like, you guys kind of look alike. And then her mom said the same thing. Long lost brother.
Love it. Yep. Nate, good to see you, my brother. Jason, what's up, man? Man, woo, we're getting close. Wednesday, man. Wednesday. We've got Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Woo. Let some more people funnel in here. We'll get going here in just a bit, but man, excited for kickoff. Excited for the UCLA game. What'd you guys think of the uniform combo? I love it. I think it's great.
So clean. Can I play a song?
Absolutely.
I think if it weren't for the way that they reveal those uniforms, I wouldn't care less. I like to look good, look good, feel good, play good, but I get way more excited than I think I should just because of the videos when they come out.
For sure. They do a good job with those videos. Mm-hmm. Say what you will about the drum and feather and the combination itself, but man, they do good work with those videos.
Yeah. Tanner Martin.
I am tonight. Tanner, I am tonight. All right, we've got enough people in here. Let's get rolling, Josh. Excited for tonight's show. And first, want to say thank you to everybody that have tuned in, to us. I think our first episode Monday, I'll share a little bit behind the scenes. It was our highest downloaded episode of the year, and so that was pretty cool. Pretty cool to see that. And again, it speaks to Josh and his presence here now, and so really really grateful for everybody tuning in, supporting and stuff. And so with this, excited to continue to do more of these live streams, and we've got some plans and stuff and all that. So really excited. And then, excited for tonight's show. We're going to obviously talk a lot of Utah, UCLA. We're going to run through a couple of key matchups in the Big 12 as well. Just some quick takes and who we think, are going to pull out the victories for the Big 12 this weekend. But we want to hear from you guys. We want to hear hot takes. We want to hear bold predictions for Saturday. We want to hear it all. We're going to run through those over the last 20, 30 minutes of the show. And so be thinking on your predictions, who you think scores the first touchdown, who you think makes the game-changing play, whatever you think. Just think of predictions, think of bold takes, and we'll run through those later in the episode. Josh, man, what do you think about tonight's episode?
Excited to be here again, doing it live. It was good to get that run through when we recorded on Sunday. We didn't need to edit too much, so I think we feel pretty good about coming in here and just doing this live. And as Steve said, we want to hear your hot takes. We want to hear your predictions. We might put you on blast if you're woefully wrong. We might put you in the spotlight if you're absolutely right. So when we come back and we put a bow on the college football weekend, we want to come back and look at some of this. We want to do a lot with fan engagement, fan interaction. You're sitting here listening to us talk, but we also want to hear what you have to say. So, whether it be in the comments here or on the Twitter timeline or in the spaces, we just want to hear from you all and kind of put some of your ball knowing prowess on display.
Love it, man. Whoa, DB hopping in here, chiming in. Man, good to see DB in here. Buxton already starting out strong, 300 plus rushing yards. Man, I hope we see that. I hope we see that, man. So, um, Josh, do we want to just dive into the Utah UCLA matchup? Where do we want to start?
Yeah, I mean, at a high level, Pac-12 after dark, right off the jump, throwback. That's cool. That game's going to kick off 9 p.m. Utah time. Going to be a very late night for all those people that indulge in the timelines and the media and everything that comes out after the game. But yeah, we get a fun one right off the jump. There's a lot of intrigue around UCLA. Deshaun Foster, year two, as a coach. They bring in Nico, and there's just a lot of they've got a little bit of excitement there. This is a game that we should win, but it's also one of those like we do have to show up and we have to take care of business to get that W. But it feels nice to not start off the season with maybe UT Martin or
Yeah.
Portland State or something like that. So we get a fun one on Saturday. I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, you brought up Deshaun Foster and him going into year two. He's already he's not on the hot seat. I don't want to put that out there, but the patience is already worn thin after a 5-7 season last year for the Bruins, and they're looking for signs of progress. And for UCLA fans, this is a game that they've got circled as a must win. So this is one that we feel this is a must win for Utah, and UCLA is coming into this with the same sort of mindset. And so this is going to be a really competitive matchup. It's going to be one that both teams have actually made very similar changes to their roster, to their coaching staff. Both have new offensive coordinators, both returned defensive coordinators that were, that orchestrated really tough defenses. I was surprised. I don't know if I just missed it, if I skimmed over them. I didn't recognize them in the placing that they were. But UCLA was a top 10 rush defense last year, both in yards per game allowed and total yards. And that's not the UCLA we grew up watching in the old Pac-12, man. But this is two programs, very similar situations, and so this is going to be a really competitive one. And with the matchup itself, it's a fascinating one because Utah's coming into this thing with some really, really strong units, some elite talents at certain spots. And UCLA, this is almost a strength on strength battle when you talk about what Utah has along the offensive line and what UCLA did last year defending the run. This is going to be, a heavyweight battle in the trenches. And that's what I'm really excited for.
Yeah. And that's I think like that's our key to we'll get into the winning recipe if you will in a second, but that's one of my keys to the victory is to be able to run the ball and take some of that early season pressure off Dampier as he adjusts to a new environment.
Yeah, man. All right, let's get into it. Let's get into our three keys. We each came tonight with three keys to victory for Utah, the winning recipe, as Josh has dubbed it, which I like. And so, Josh, I'll give you the mic first. What is your first key to Utah's recipe for a win?
Yeah, I already kind of started talking to it, but I do want to see a steady dose of the run game. I think that's our plan is to be able to go in and out physical teams at the line of scrimmage. And when we got to throw it, we got to throw it. But if we're able to go in, can kind of control that game flow via a strong rush attack, I'll feel good about that. With them being, a little bit stronger against the run last year, they're also, the guys I talk to, the guys you talk to, they're not extremely confident about their defensive front. So I think that's going to be a really big one. I'd love to see us be able to just move the ball on the ground and just get that bread and butter all night long.
Yeah, I'm with you there. Point number one for me was control the line of scrimmage. And to me, the O-line has to be great. They don't have to be perfect. Like I'm even expecting some mishaps, and I'll probably reveal more of what I'm thinking later on in our over and unders. But there's always mishaps in game one. Even for a line like this, like I'm prepared to see something. So, I think it's important for this line, this unit, to settle into the game pretty quickly, and then start generating that movement progressively over the course of the game. As you said, Josh, staying committed to it, right? We talked about this on Monday's episode. Is we saw that in the Iowa State Kansas State game where Iowa State started out zero point 0.8 yards in the first quarter, 2 yards in the second, 3, and then almost 5 yards per carry in the fourth quarter alone. That's the sort of progression that I hope to see from Utah, only a little bit greater in terms of starting out stronger. I'd love to see Utah start out strong, but I think staying committed to it, generating a lot of push in front. And to me, the key matchup is going to be Gary Smith Jr., UCLA's nose tackle. He's a big body. He's an athletic body. He is coming off of a pretty bad injury last year, a season-ending injury. And so for me, the key matchup there is Gary Smith versus the interior three. I think Jaron Kump, Moko Fisi, and Togiai, they have to be really good against that interior, and they've got to be the guys that are generating the push up front. So yeah, in alignment there, I think that's where it all starts for Utah. Not only in this game, but this season. It starts up front. These guys have to play at a really good level. And, talking to them all throughout fall camp, they know that they've got to go out and prove it. So I'm really interested, even excited to see what this group does, in game one. So let's get to point number 2. What you got for us?
Yeah, kind of cliche, but limit mistakes, right? First game jitters, miscommunications, turnovers, things like that. I think that's how you allow UCLA to stick around. If we were to lose in Pasadena, I think we'd be able to point at some very key mistakes that were made. So I've got, just take care of the ball, pound the rock, take what's there through the throw game, and just play disciplined. And that goes to kick coverage. That's one of my biggest pet peeves from little years past, not kicking the ball out of the end zone, trying to leave it short, play that field possession game. It's made us pay. So I just want to make sure that we're limiting mistakes.
Yeah, very important. Big key for Utah is limiting the mistakes. And for me, I'm actually looking for Utah to create more havoc. And for me, I talked about it in a previous episode, but pressure rate is going to be really important for me in terms of creating that havoc for UCLA in their backfield. Put this offensive line, UCLA's offensive line, to the test. This is a unit that's been pieced together through the transfer portal. They do return a right tackle in Garrett DiGiorgio, who's he was pretty solid last year for UCLA. He's a big body at 6'7", 320 pounds, so he's got good length. He limited, his sacks given up to just 3 and 21 pressures over the course of the season. And you think of, the defenses that he's going against in the Big Ten, that's pretty impressive. And so for me, the key matchup in this sense is Logan Fano here versus DiGiorgio. And with Fano, he's been playing against the best offensive tackle all offseason, right? He should be primed and ready to go to get after it against somebody else, because those two, it's been a battle. And so I'm sure Fano is chomping at the bit to finally get some of these pass rush moves off against somebody else. And so that's going to be a big key, is getting pressure on the backfield and creating chaos essentially against this UCLA offensive line. They've brought in a number of transfers, Cortland Ford from Kentucky, another from Rice, who's probably going to start at center. And so what is the chemistry like? What sort of, how cohesive are they as a unit? Put it to the test. And so that to me is going to be really interesting, is getting pressure and making life hard for that offensive line, because you've got to get to Nico Iamaleava in this one.
Yeah, totally agree. And I'm excited to see our dogs in the trenches finally get to hit somebody else. That's just one of the best times of the year, is when you get to see those pads pop against someone else for the first time.
For sure. Okay, third and final key.
Yeah, Another thing that I think would burn us is the big play. I think on a play-by-play basis, I think our defense is going to be better than their offense and be able to hold them on a play-by-play basis. What I worry about is the big play, the 40+ yard touchdown throw, the blown coverage, stuff like that. You saw Iowa State kind of let Kansas State back into the game and let Kansas State hang around because of some of those blown coverages. And I think on paper, and you just think through where these two teams are situation-wise, like we feel good about this one, but it's those big plays that'll do it. So just want to have sound coverage, disciplined tackling, wrap up, just some of those fundamentals.
Absolutely. That's going to be a big key. We saw that, in the Iowa State Kansas State game is, I'm sure both programs went into that game feeling good about where they're at in terms of executing, but it's a different ball game once you're live, right? And so that's going to be key, is limiting those mistakes. For me, the third and final key is offensive balance and getting the wide receivers involved. And I think, watching film on Beck's offense, there's a lot of easy ways for them to get production from the wide receiver room. The RPO it has a strong presence in Beck's offense, and with Dampier, man, he's effective executing the RPO, and so it creates a lot of easy opportunities, and it's going to create opportunities down the field, and so I think generating production through the air is going to be really, really important for Utah to create that balance and to create and preserve that space for the run game. I'm really excited to see the run game. Again, similarly, Beck did a lot of fun things with his run game and some of the schematics and blocking schemes. I think fans should be really excited for what they'll see, with the run game. So, but again, it's all going to be about generating balance, getting guys involved, getting Merriweather, getting Creed Whittemore, Ryan Davis, Larry Simmons, getting those guys involved because, that's UCLA knows that Utah wants to run the ball. And so that's going to be a big key. So those are our 3 keys to the game. If you guys want to think on it, what are your 3 keys? We'll make sure to highlight those later in the show. But, give us your recipe, your winning recipe for Utah against UCLA. I think that'll be a lot of fun to run through, once we get later into the show.
Yeah, and I already see some of those coming through, DB and Patty hot takes coming in. Seeing some of those takes already, and we'll get into those. And we have another 2 comments. Patty says 2 Bartles on my screen right now, LMAO, and Tyrell said, which one is Bartle? So we're here.
It's Lomu and Fano. That's what it is. It's Lomu and Fano. That's, take your pick. Both first round picks. Oh man. All right. Let's see. What do we got next on the show plan here? The over under blitz. Ooh, this will be fun. So, Josh, you want to lead this one?
Yeah, I'll get it going. We had some fun with this. Got some good laughs and stuff while we were going, but we wanted to kind of do every week an over under blitz kind of thing. Just go through real quickly on some over unders for the week. Another thing for the fans to kind of put forth, their best stab at this. So following the show, we'll put this out so you can pick your over unders, and we'll highlight some of those people that got the most right. So let's jump into these. I've got first up. I've got Devin Dampier over under 329.5 all-purpose yards.
Oh man, starting out the gate with a tough one. I'm gonna go under, and I think he's going to have a very productive game, an efficient game. But I'm gonna go under because I think there's gonna be a lot of wealth spread around, and you'll kind of pick up on that. But I'm gonna go under.
I'm going to go under as well. I don't think we're going to have to rely on him as much. I think that we end up in a situation where we're over if UCLA's offense is trucking along in game 1 together. So I'm with you on the under there. Next up, we got Wayshawn Parker over under 99.5 rushing yards.
This one was tough because I said under. I said under, and I as soon as I said it, I said, "Ooh, do I really believe that?" But I'm gonna play it to UCLA strengths defensively. I'm gonna say under.
And I totally get the feeling of saying something and not totally being behind it because,
Yeah.
I said Smith Snowden's going to have 15 catches on Sunday, but, I just get excited, get really excited. So staying along those lines of being excited, I've got Parker going over. I think there's going to be a bunch of dudes getting carries. But I see Wayshawn Parker getting one big chunk touchdown play, getting like a 50, 60-yard breakaway. That'll really help push him over that 100-yard mark.
Yeah. And again, if this offensive line gets going, like I could see it. And so I say under because I want to pay respect to UCLA and that rush defense, but man, I could very easily see that going over.
Yeah. Next up, O block. I've got over under half sack allowed. You think they're going to allow a sack or no?
I do. Again, I just think game one, something crazy happens. We saw we saw Spencer Fano give up the only sack of the season last year in game one against Southern Utah. And so I just think, Coach Malo at UCLA, he'll come up with something unique, something exotic, something that maybe they weren't prepared for, and they get to Dampier. And so I'm going to say over, but I'm only going to say just they get one. They get one.
I'm gonna say no sacks. I'm gonna say we're gonna keep Dampier clean in game one, and probably game two and game three. There's a bold prediction: no sacks and out of conference play.
Ooh, you should have saved that till the end of the episode. But that's a great one.
Sorry,
that's a great one.
Get ahead of myself.
Good. Yeah, couldn't hold it in.
I couldn't. All right, so you got one sack. I've got zero, and I see a good mix from the chat too.
Oh yeah.
Tobias Merriweather over under 69.5 receiving yards.
See, this is where I start to go. I'm going to go over with Tobias. I think he gets loose, and I think there's again getting that balance offensively. They're going to have to create some opportunities, and I think Dampier and Merriweather they convert on a couple opportunities, get the ball down the field to him, and I think he hits the over on 69.5 yards.
Yeah, I've got the over on that as well. I think he gets there on like 5 catches.
Yeah, I think that's a good number. Yeah. 5 at 17 yards per catch, which is what he averaged last year or over the course of his career. That's what
8.5.
Yeah. It's a good number.
Yeah. Sounds about right. Utah offense, total points scored over under 28.5.
I'm going over. Yeah, I'm going over. I think Utah crosses the 30-point threshold.
You think they do that all season long? You think we'll be 30 for the season?
Ooh, that's a good question. I will say one game. There's probably a couple games on this schedule where they end up, it's going to be 28, 27, 28, 29, a really ugly dogfight type of match. But I think they're around 30 all season long.
Yeah, I to go back to the original question, I got over. I've got a score in 34 in this one. We'll get to our score prediction here in a second. But if you remember, Jordan Wynn once said, if this Utah team, the program overall, just like forever and always, could score 30 points per game, we'll win a lot of games forever and always. And I think that's one of the most simple things that you can put this into. Like, there's not many teams that are scoring 30 points against us. And if you go back the last decade and you gave us 30 points in every game and you looked at how many we'd win, we'd have one of the most winningest records in college football.
Oh yeah.
For sure.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Again, it points to just how consistent that defense is. You can count on it year in, year out to do a great job limiting opponent production. And so getting to that 30-point mark, man, that's a big number for Utah.
Yep.
DB, we'll get to that one. That's a good over under. We'll get to that one.
I like that. I like that, DB. Next up, defense, over under 1.5 takeaways.
I'm going to say over. I don't know why I hesitated there, because when I wrote the over down, I felt pretty confident about that. I think they get 2.
You think picks or fumbles?
Oh man, maybe one of both. I don't know. I think they get at least one interception.
I think we'll get an interception. I have us at the under with one pick is kind of what I have in mind.
Yeah, and that's going to be a big key, right? Like this has been a major point of emphasis for Utah all offseason long, and Coach Scally specifically is generating takeaways. And, Utah, I was looking at some numbers actually. They dropped 10 interceptions last season. Hit them in the hands, hit them on the chest plate. They dropped 10 interceptions.
That's how you end up. That's how you end up CB4 at Alabama, right?
Not wrong. I mean,
not throw shade, but
you got a bag though, so
yeah. Congrats on the bag, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So defense, over under 2.5 sacks for our defense.
Oh man, I'm gonna say 2. I'm gonna go under.
I got us at 3. So
okay,
all right there, splitting that 2.5 down the middle.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Lander Barton sack.
I think Fano gets one. I think he gets one early, and then we're going to see a lot of pressure. I do think they're going to create a lot of havoc, but I'm going to give credit to Iam Aliava and, his ability to get the ball out quickly. I think that's going to be a point of emphasis for Sunseri, against Utah, because UCLA knows that Utah likes to bring the pressure, and I think that's going to be a point of emphasis. So I think Fano gets one early, and then they probably get one late, but I see 2 as sort of the number.
Okay. Utah defense allow over under 22.5 points.
Over just slightly. And
I've got them under with 20 points.
Yeah. So, final score prediction. What do you got?
One more.
One more. Oh yeah.
We already know how we're answering this, but you think Dylan Curtis hits a field goal longer than 45? Over?
Yeah, I think he hits one over. I think he hits one. I wouldn't be surprised to see a 50-yarder.
I'd love to see a 50 sail through.
I want to see it so bad, really dude.
Good. Yeah.
Man, I'm telling you. So watching him in spring, when we were able to watch some practice and watch some scrimmage, like, dude, that thing, it explodes off of his foot, dude. Like, it's shot out of a cannon. Like, that thing is going, dude. It's humming.
It's gonna be fun. And final score prediction. What do you got?
I've got it 31-24.
And I've got 34-20. The good guys for both of us, of course.
Good guys, obviously. Yeah, good guys. So 31-24. I think it's going to be really competitive. I think we get a little Pac-12 after dark magic, maybe. I shouldn't say magic, but, a little craziness, a little chaos. I think we return to form with the Pac-12 after dark. But I think Utah does enough, especially late, getting that run game going. I think 31-24.
I like it. Utah
getting some scores coming in, too. Like that. I see you, J-Mo. 34-24 Utes. I see you. 34-28. Steph with a close one, 27-25.
Very nice. Yeah, we'll take these over unders. We'll plug them out, and then everybody can kind of take their best stab at it, and then we'll go through and just see who's who got the closest. And keep in mind, any hot takes, bold predictions, tame predictions, doesn't matter. Just anything you got, anything you just put out there into the universe, and that stuff comes true. We'll highlight some of that.
Yeah, I'm going through the chat right now and highlighting some comments to return to. So we'll make sure to get to some of these. This is great stuff.
Yeah. I love the interaction in the chat.
Okay. Let's talk a little.
Crane's back. Andrew Crane's back.
Oh no.
He's plugging himself.
Oh no. Mr. Self-Promotion. Oh no.
Good to have you tonight, Andrew.
Good to see you, brother. Grinding the tape, man. Putting in that work. I see you, buddy. All right, dude. Let's talk some Big 12 real quick. We've got some big games in the Big 12. We we went longer than we thought with the Utah. I thought we'd be done in and out 20 minutes, but much rather talk 30 minutes Utes than 20 minutes. Let's run through the Big 12. So, we've got some big matchups. There's a lot of, matchups that just should be, easy wins for the Big 12 programs. We've got Jacksonville State at UCF, UT Martin at Oklahoma State, Stephen F. Austin at Houston. Like those are the types of games that the Big 12 should just take care of business. But we've got a couple good ones. So let's start Nebraska versus Cincinnati in Kansas City. Josh, how do you see this one playing out?
Yeah, I'm gonna take Nebraska. I like Matt Rule as a coach at the college level. I was watching something where his year 2 to year 3, that's like where he's made the jump. So we'll see if he starts to put it together. Everything's freezing on me.
Uh-oh.
Can you hear me?
We're still good. Yeah, you're good.
All right, I'm going to keep going. My screen's frozen, but I'll keep going. Anyway, Matt Rule, I like. I think they're a little more put together. Cincinnati, I really need to see something from them right now. I just don't. I'm not a big believer. I think Sorsby's got an opportunity to shine here and show that they can be something. But really, from Cincinnati, it's I just don't see it from them. Nebraska feels like a team that's ready to break out. They lost some close ones last year, and the biggest thing is going to be for them is, can Dylan, Mini Mahomes, Raiola, whether you like him or not, can he take that step forward and can he protect the football? They lost a couple games because of turnovers. They could have beat Ohio State if it wasn't for his 2 picks. So Nebraska is looking like they might be able to show something, and they've got a schedule that kind of allows them to do it. But it'd be a great opportunity for Cincy to show something and put on for the Big 12. But I've got Nebraska winning that one.
Yeah, I'm with you. I've got Nebraska. I'm a big fan of Brendan Sorsby, the quarterback for Cincy. Watching his film, I love the way that he plays. I think he's got talent. I'm shocked that a Big Ten or SEC program didn't try to make something happen there. But he's got ability, and I think it's a big opportunity for him to get his name out there. But yeah, Nebraska should take care of business in this one. Cincinnati, they just don't have the top elite talent. They don't have the depth. This is going to be a process for Scott Satterfield. It's going to be a long season, I think, and probably maybe his last one.
Yeah, I think so.
All right, Auburn at Baylor. This is probably the biggest game on the slate for the Big 12. I really want to say Baylor, but I was reading up on them. They've got a couple injuries, a running back and a safety. They call it their star position, which could put their defensive secondary, which wasn't the best last year. They made some additions in the portal that could put them in a really tough spot against this Auburn offense. So I'm interested to see Sawyer Robinson, how he looks, if he's able to sustain and build on last year's performance. Baylor went into the portal, brought in some receivers, Cole Wilson, Kobe Prentice from Alabama, Ashton Hawkins they got back. And so those group, I don't necessarily think that Robertson has to be special, but he's got to be sharp. And I think his receivers got to make the difference there. But I'm gonna lean towards Auburn in this one. I'm gonna pick them to knock off the Bears in Waco, which is tough because I want to see the Bears get this one.
Yeah, I'm gonna go opposite as you here. I like Baylor in Waco. Friday night game, first game of the season, blackout game. I think the environment will be awesome there for them. I really like Sawyer Robertson. I think as soon as he came and took over for Baylor, they became a totally different team. I think Baylor's in a totally different atmosphere right now. If he was QB1 to start the season last year, I think he's got total control of his offense. He knows how to take care of the ball. I think he had like a 28-8 touchdown to interception ratio. I just think that he's going to be looking poised on Friday night under the bright lights as a senior at home. And, Auburn on the flip side, they're going to be breaking in Jackson Arnold at quarterback. But with that being said, Auburn's going to make it tough on them. I definitely see this as a close game, like a 3-point kind of game. I think Baylor's going to be able to kind of do more of what they want to do offensively, and that's going to result in more points.
At the very least, I hope it's a very, very physical game and Baylor wins, but it takes a toll.
Yeah, we'll see. And at the same
Yeah.
time as that, I love the Friday night slate. At the same exact time, ESPN and Fox couldn't have split the love up at all for us. At the same time, another big one. You got Georgia Tech and Colorado. I'll be double dipping there and watching
Oh yeah.
both. What are you thinking about the Georgia Tech Colorado game?
I think this is an interesting one. Georgia Tech, good program, tough, disciplined. They've got a really good quarterback, or at least somebody that took a good step forward in Haynes King last year. They've got him coming back. Being at Colorado last year, being at Folsom Field, and seeing that place packed, it's a totally different place than what we have seen, in the years before at Colorado with Utah taking care of business there. It's a totally different atmosphere, totally different vibe. They have a genuine home field advantage now, and I think that's going to come through pretty big in Game 1. I think Colorado surprises everybody, and they knock off Georgia Tech.
I like the pick and I want to do it. I really do because I think they have enough talent there, and I think Dion's a fantastic motivator. So like he is the type of guy that can get them up. They just have still so many question marks, and Georgia Tech's coming into this one just they're ready to go. They bring back their offense from the coordinator to the quarterback to the running back.
Mm-hmm.
Like they feel solid there. You look at what Georgia Tech was able to do last season. They went to 8 overtimes with Georgia in the final regular season game. They got
Crazy.
a win over Miami. That win over Miami was kind of Cristobal's fault, but neither here nor there. They you got to capitalize
it's a
on
big
those
factor
moments.
in those. It's a
Cristobal,
big factor in
bum. We knew that though. We knew that. But I do think Georgia Tech does get this one. They bring a lot back. They play disciplined football, and but I'm very excited to watch and see what is Colorado going to be. I have them as like the biggest wild card in the Big 12.
Yeah.
You just don't know what to expect post Shador, Travis Hunter, etc.
Totally agree with you there that this team is the biggest wild card. I'm going to give Colorado the benefit of the doubt because they did prove a lot of us wrong the first 2 years under Coach Sanders. I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. I'm going to buy into Coach Prime going into year 3 here, despite losing Travis and despite losing Shador. I think the big thing here for me, and this is going to determine Colorado's not just their chances to on Friday and this. But this season, it's going to be the offensive line. Jordan Seaton has to be special, and that unit has to come together. It has to play better. Otherwise, it's going to be a long year in Boulder. So, last one here, Labor Day game, TCU at UNC. Is Jordan Hudson, is she going to have a headset? is she going to be calling things out? No, we're not calling that play. Like, where's Jordan Hudson in all this? That's going to be a key factor for me. She going to be on the sideline? She going to be up in the booth?
Where's she at? We need a quick over under, Steve. How many times does she make it on the television set in the span of the game? Over under 12 and a half.
Oh, I'm glad you said 12 and a half because I'm going over. I think 15. Okay. I think 15 times we get Jordan Hudson on the screen over the course of 4 quarters.
I had 13 in mind. So yeah, I'll go over with you. Tanner Martin in the chat says he'll actually be at that one.
Oh, nice. Heck yeah, dude. That'll be a great game.
Tanner's got some good ones on the agenda. Dude. He's also going to Michigan at Oklahoma.
He always tries to get me to go to these games, but I'm like, Tanner, dude, I work. Like, I can't. Like, this is, sorry, dude. Anyways, about the game.
Yeah, not Jordan Hudson. Game. The game. Bill Belichick's first college game. Obviously intriguing. It's first time coaching at the college football level, period. He never coached college football, which is kind of interesting. It'll be I think it's going to be a challenge for him to get to that college level and just relate to these kids. Like, he's already a little bit older of a coach. He hasn't really played that college game and stuff. I mean, he's going to have no problem recruiting and stuff. And, he knows the game of football, but there's some of those like weird things of just dealing with college kids that I wonder how fast he's going to be able to get a grip on all of that. He's kind of a stickler who wants things his way. So You saw some of that with New England and the way he butted heads with Brady. So it's just, we'll see how he does with some of these prima donna college kid athletes that are getting paid, that have made it. That, you know, that's something to keep an eye on. I just don't think he's going to be able to find that traction in week one and beat a TCU team that a lot of people think are being slept on. The Horned Frogs come into this with a lot less question marks. I mean, UNC, they finally announced their starting quarterback today, the South Alabama transfer, Gio Lopez. So, you know, the Horned Frogs, they just, on these early season matchups, I tend to lean with who's got the fewer question marks. And, you know, it'll be interesting to see if Hoover can take himself from one of those like middling Big 12 quarterbacks to push himself up into that upper echelon of Big 12 quarterbacks. We got a lot of good quarterbacks in this conference. And if he can be one of those, they might make some noise. I got TCU,
this one will be interesting.
27-24.
Okay. Yeah. And a tight one. And so this one, I was reading up on it, and I'm like, TCU has been dealing with the injury bug pretty significantly in fall camp. They lost, you know, a receiver that was going to challenge for a starting role for the season. They've got another tight end, Kamorian Pimpton, who, if you're a deep recruiting guy for Utah, if you like recruiting, you'll remember Pimpton visited a couple years ago. Big target. He was a big addition from LSU. He's been injured. A number of defensive linemen have been in and out of practice. Marcus Deal, their big nose tackle, who's going to play a pretty big role for them. You know, he just returned to practice. And so there's a lot of question marks. They've been dealing with a lot of injuries throughout fall camp. So, you know, I was very much in favor of TCU going into this one. I thought they'd win by, you know, a touchdown. But with Bill Belichick, you know, this is a big moment for him. I think he's going to come in with a great game plan. I think he makes it tight. I think he makes it competitive. But I'm with you, Josh. I think Hoover is a really good quarterback. They've got some receivers. Eric McAllister, I think, is on everybody's kind of breakout watch list in the Big 12. I think he's got a chance to be special. You know, and then this defense for TCU, it's experience. They got a lot of seniors on that defense, and so that's going to be the key for me, is the chemistry, the cohesion that they have on that side of the ball. I think that's what leads them to the win over North Carolina this weekend. I think it'll be something like 30-24, but again, I think Belichick probably surprises at how well coached this team is, how sharp they look, and all that sort of stuff. But man, it'll be interesting to say the least.
Yeah, they'll be a fun one to watch, and they play in the ACC. There's not too much going on in the ACC, so they can be competitive in that conference.
Yeah, for sure. So that's what we've got. I would love to hear from you guys in terms of, you know, what you see in the Big 12 this week, what you see for Utah. We're going to start going through some of these comments and posts, some of these questions as well. Man, we've got a lot. Holy smokes. Got a lot of these. Where do we want to start? We got some hot takes in here. Where are the hot takes? Where we got them? We got this one up here. First one of the night. Shout out to Buxton, 300 plus rushing yards. How would that be divvied up? How would like Wayshawn for 100, Devin for 100? How would you divvy that up? Do you think 6 guys contribute to that? 7?
Got to figure Knack's going to get some. You got to figure, obviously, Wayshawn, Dampier. Between those 3, you're probably like 250 of it. And then from there, maybe some of those smaller speed backs that, that we spell with. I think 1 or 2 of them might make that up. So I'd say 4 or 5 guys.
Yeah, you're probably right. That'd be great. Austin Anderson, does KSL have a gun to your head to put out this daily content? No comment. No comment. What else we got here? Takes a kick return to the house. Smith Snowden. All right, dude. That would be great. That Joe Williams game started with the Corey Butler Bird kickoff return for a tutty.
It's a throwback name. Corey Butler Bird.
That is a throwback name. Shout out to the review window on the cop car for old Corey Butler Bird. Uh, sorry, I shouldn't have said that. I shouldn't. Shout out to
It's
Corey
okay.
CBB, man. He was a great one.
Oh,
Electric. TJ Jensen. Dampier is going wild Saturday night. The rest of the Big 12 fans going to spend all next week telling us how bad UCLA is and that he isn't as good as he is. We'll see, man. So again, I was watching film earlier today, and watching Dampier against Auburn, and I think he's going to surprise some people in terms of his ability to throw the ball and all that sort of stuff. I love his fit with Beck's offense. It's obviously Beck has built his offense around Dampier and his strengths, but man, I'm really excited to see this offense against UCLA. What else we got? DB. I assume this year is your winning recipe. Pretty simple. Run the ball, stop the run, keep the QB healthy. Amen.
that's what you want in week one.
Yep. I'll tell you, man, as long as Utah keeps Dampier healthy this season, I think 9 wins. Easy, I shouldn't say easy, but they get to 9 wins, get to 10 wins. I think Dampier is that important. I think he's that good, and I think it's that important that they keep him healthy. Here's a good question. Anyone on the first 2 levels for UCLA that causes you guys concern? Do they have any dogs? First 2 levels, I assume talking defense.
Nothing that sticks out to me or anybody that was mentioned in my conversations with the UCLA guys over at 247.
Gary Smith, he's the big body. He's number 58. Again, he's returning from injury from last year. Keanu Williams is another guy. He's more defensive tackle. Gary Smith is more nose tackle. And so those are the guys. The big question mark for them is going to be along the edge. They have no idea what they have in terms of ability to generate a pass rush off the edge. They had to replace Olafemi Aladejo last year, who was he proved to be pretty dynamic. They lost experienced linebackers in I'm not even going to try to say their names. So they've got a lot to replace on the defense side of the ball. It's a big question mark, that defensive front. But in terms of the first 2 levels, the guys that give concern, it's Gary Smith and it's Keanu Williams. Patty. Here's his winning recipe. Pound the rock, pressure Nico, clean special teams play. Josh, how undervalued are special teams? Do you think it's a big role?
I think it's massive. I think we've lost games because of it, right? So I'd like to see us simply just kick the ball out of the back of the end zone. I think a lot of people are like that, and I get it. If you can leave it just a little bit short, get your guys down there quick enough, you can put them behind the touchback zone, but just kick the ball out of the back of the end zone, leave no questions there. Been burned by kick returns, big kick returns for touchdowns, or even just getting that ball. So, Patty does know ball. I agree with DB there. Shout out Patty for calling out the importance of clean special teams play. That's something I've been harping on Monday's episode and again tonight. So I'm with you, brother.
JMO, control the line of scrimmage. That's a big one, man. Control the line of scrimmage, both sides of the ball. Big one. Yeah, that's a big one. Let's see here. Ooh, limit penalties on crucial downs. It's always important. Utah was actually one of the, I need to look it up, but they were actually one of the better teams in terms of penalties, I believe. I was looking at it with UCLA and Utah, and UCLA had, I think, 20 more penalties than Utah did last year. So It was a pretty significant number. I might be off in terms of the exact number, but Utah tends to do a good job with penalties. But you're right, can't take it for granted. Got to limit those penalties, especially on crucial downs for sure. Here's Brickman. His winning recipe: win the turnover margin. That's a big one. Keep the defense honest with the balanced attack. Finish drives in the end zone. That last point, that's a big one for sure. That's a significant one, and I think with this offense, I think Beck does a good job of not playing around, not not getting too cute. He's got a weapon in Devin Dampier, and last year at New Mexico, just utilized his athleticism and got him into the end zone a number of times in the red zone. And I think with the offensive line, with Wayshawn Parker, with Nakari Rogers and Devin Dampier, I think that's going to be that should be a really strong number for Utah this year, is finishing drives when they get to the red zone by getting into the end zone. I think that should be a big point of emphasis this season for Utah.
I love that point. I think everybody who pays any attention knows that the red zone woes are just unacceptable. And, new guy, new system. We have reason to think that can turn around.
Yeah, 100%. This one from Andrew. Josh, you want to handle this one?
Yeah, Andrew's got for his winning recipe: limit explosive plays and don't get beat deep. I'm with you there. That was one of my points, is just take away the big play. Keep them, keep the guys in front of you, and sound tackling. Don't let anybody break something that should be maybe a 6-yard gain for a 60-yard gain. 2, keep Nico in the pocket. Don't allow him to run. I like that as well. Just play contain. Don't get sucked in. Don't lose your assignment. And then 3, don't turn the ball over. 100% with you, Andrew. All 3 good takes. Really good takes.
Let's see here. Oh, here it was. Here's DB's comment.
I was going to say we should go to that.
What's the over-under on how many games it takes to extend our pick 6 streak? Ooh. 3.5. Does it happen in conference play or non-conference play?
This is let me dream for a second, but you know what we do to true freshman quarterbacks, and I think the first one on our schedule is on October 18th, and we've started games out with pick 6s against those guys. I like that one, so I've got it at, what is that, game 7?
Yeah, I think so.
I could do the schedule in my head
7.
down, but
game 7. It's game 7.
Okay, yeah. So I got it October 18th. If you'll dream with me. Okay. We got to get it. Any which way, we're getting it.
Yeah. I'm going to go under 3.5 games. I think Utah gets one in non-con play. Heard a lot of really good things about Snowden this offseason in fall camp, and his ability to generate those types of takeaways. So I hope he gets a couple opportunities. I'm really excited to see what Snowden does this season. And I think he gets one. It may not be UCLA, but there's some good opportunities against Cal Poly and Wyoming. I think it happens before conference play. I believe it happens before conference play, but that's a good one.
And I obviously wouldn't be mad.
No. And obviously I want it, October 18th as well. I would love to see that too. So
take both.
Let's see. Yeah.
Both. Not being greedy, because we've done that. We've done multiple in the season. We can do that.
Red Kingdom with the hot one. Lander with an offense and defensive touchdown. Whew. Might have to take a picture of that one.
I wouldn't want to tackle Lander Barton, so if he has the ball, go ahead, bud, score that.
I'm telling you guys, like, watching him, going into his senior year, playing in 7-on-7 stuff, and watching him at Brighton, dude, like, there's talent there. Like, he could have played tight end at the collegiate level if he wanted to, but he wants to be a linebacker. But I think this year It's all about doing as much as he can to help Utah win. And I don't know that he's going to play a big role in terms of snaps played and all that, but I think there'll be effective plays, effective snaps, and that. So I'm excited to see what Leonard can do this season. Let's see here. All right. Here's one. Okay. Here's one. Well, I think our safeties are good. Like last year, I think we'll have an issue with them coming up, making big plays versus the run. We don't have a Bishop, Vaki, Blackman, Williams, Hanson, Blair, etc. Well, hopefully one of them steps up, fills that role this season, and their experience one more year in the program helps them. That'll be interesting. With Teo Johnson, Rabbit Evans. Rabbit was, man, he drew comparisons to Sione Vaki from coaches in spring ball. So, we'll see. But to your point, they have to go out, they have to do it on game day. That's going to be the big key. But I think, Teo, I think he's got to take a big step this year in terms of taking the ball away. He played sound last year, and I think going into year 2 at free safety, I think he's got to. I think it's all going to come together for him. So yeah, I don't disagree that these guys got to step up and that, but I think there's reason to be optimistic that they can and that they do.
Yeah, everything we hear is we're really happy with what we have back there. So
Yeah.
I think Evans will make a lot of people happy this year, and Teo's been that guy. So
Yeah. And two, like Nate Ritchie, having that as your third, maybe fourth safety, with what they have in the secondary, with Jackson Benny's versatility, with Nathan Tillman, a true freshman who's really impressed. Like to have Nate Ritchie as your third or fourth, like you feel really good about that. Nate's been, he hasn't lived up to the expectations that he created as a freshman, right? We all remember 2020 and how good he looked. Unfortunately, I think injuries have kind of played a role in that for him. But to have him there, have his presence in that room, I think is huge. So I think that safety room should surprise us. Let's see here. We got to put some of these scores up. Let's get some of these score predictions up. 34-24 Utes. 34-28 Adam. All right. Yep.
see Adam for all your HVAC needs. Anyway, keep going.
Oh man, I should have hit you up. We just did our HVAC in the basement. Dang. Where were you, Adam? Where were you, dog? Austin Anderson with the big one, 29-13. Love it, dude. Love it. House of Utes, 35-13. Okay.
Bringing the wood. I like it.
Yeah, man. Hey, Ben.
Hi, Ben.
Hey, Ben. Did we just do the same?
No, I did that for effect. We've been called twins a couple times, so I had to.
The Milkman, 35-14. Loving these scores. This is a good one. We'll throw Andrew Crane's mug on here. I think that's his mug. Is that his mug, or is that a fake picture?
No, that's Andrew.
Okay.
I'm with Andrew. That's the game that I'd say most fascinates me outside of our own, obviously, from a Big 12 matchup perspective. Like, I'd love to get that win early. I think a lot of people are, thinking like SEC team's going to roll over a Big 12 team, but I think Baylor getting out and getting that's going to be important for us.
Let's see here. Tyrell, got to get you on here. Barton, leading tackler. Dampier throws for 250. Team total rushing over 200. Book it. Book it. Yeah, I think Barton. I'm excited to see Barton, man. Like I was saying earlier about his offensive ability. Like, I'm excited to see him on defense. Another year to get healthy, to get right, to regain the confidence that he had prior to his injury. I'm excited to see him and Fano. Excited to see those guys now that they're back.
I think this is the year that his neck becomes like that true X factor. Like I think it's
Oh
finally like
yeah.
ready to just go.
Unleash.
Mm-hmm.
Lander unleashes neck.
Mm-hmm. It's time.
Yeah. You can't see it because of the black, but Colby coming in strong with the pick six in the opening game. I love it. Jameson control the line of scrimmage, win the turnover battle, pound the rock. Pretty consistent. Pretty consistent theme tonight. Is Whittemore going to see the field as a receiver? Yes. Yes. He will. Yeah. I'm really excited to see Whittemore. We saw it in the spring game how he'll be utilized. Again, there's easy ways to get these guys involved, and I think Whittemore really fits uh, those easy buttons. He's a good fit in terms of how they try to attack with the RPO, and I think Whittemore's. I think he'll be productive on Saturday night. BCS Busters with his recipe for the win. That'll do it. This'll do it. Yes. Keys to winning. Score. Yes. I thought Dampier, we asked him what what message would you have for the fans and how would you describe the offense? And he said Utah's going to score. Like we're going to score, and I think that's just the mindset that they're bringing into this game is, um, they're going to run the ball, they're going to set the tone, and they're going to score. And I think there should be confidence in this group to get it done. Man, they just keep coming. All these. Ooh, this is a good question. Who do you think will lead the team? Who will be the lead tackler this year, Josh?
I want to say Barton, but I keep giving Barton a bunch of love. I saw somebody else say Levani Demuni, and I'm going to go there. I'm gonna follow you on that.
I'm going to say John Hall. I'm going to say Jono. I think Jono, athletic. He's going to be able. He's versatile. He's going to be, you know, sideline to sideline type athlete. Patrolling the middle of the field. I think Lander will be there, but I think Jono edges him out by a couple tackles.
I love what we have in the linebacker room. And I'm really excited for John O'Hall. I'm with you.
Yeah, and a guy that we don't talk about, but he's been in the program now a couple years. Trey Reynolds. To have him as LB4, I think is huge. He is your prototypical MAC linebacker guy, willing to take on offensive linemen coming right at him. Like he is a physical. He's a stud. And I think to have him as LB4, he's going to be in the rotation. From what we heard from Coach Swan and Coach Scally, I think that's a good thing. So I'm interested with that linebacker group to see how the green dot, how they work that. Lander and Jono talked about that on Tuesday, that they've got a helmet that they'll just rotate between one another, which will be interesting. So we'll see. But I think Utah's linebacker group, I'm excited to see this group. What else we got? What other questions we got? Have we missed any questions?
Ivan said, "Sup guys, glad to see such a great group of distinguished Utah fans." How are we doing tonight, Ivan?
Ivan, man, good to see you, brother. This is an important one. Who's all going and tailgating this weekend? Hit up your boy, the Milkman.
And I hear that Barney's from 4 to 6. If you follow along with DB and Itty Bitty Ute, they're throwing a little something for the fans from 4 to 6 at Barney's.
There you go.
Got a plug for our boys over there.
There you go. Over under 58-42 run to pass ratio in this game. Ooh, wowzers. Wowzers. That's the kind of split you like to see. Because it usually means,
That's a W.
Yeah.
I'm going to go 60-40 because I think we're running it and just grinding it down in the second half. So I'm going to go over. Braden, good over under, Braden. I like that.
That's a good one. I'm going to go under because I said it'd be competitive. Dang it. Why did I say that? Why did I say that? Let's see. Colby, if we truly have a more dynamic offense, should we take the ball if we win the toss? Love to see it. Was a lot of fun when we were doing it back in 21. Let's run it back for old time's sake, man.
That was such a hard thing to get used to, was seeing Whittingham saying, no, we want the rock. Let's go.
Yeah,
I'd love to get back to that. If I had to guess, if we win the toss, I think he's going to let us lead with our defense. That's probably my guess there.
Yeah. Colby. We do not assume. How many 50-plus yard field goals is Dylan hitting this year? That's a good question. I'm going to go look up Matt Gay, what he did, and Andy Phillips, what those guys did. Give me a sec here. Oops. Because that is a really good question. What do you think, Josh? What do you think he hits?
I think if I'm setting an over under on that, I'm probably going for like a 5.5 over under, which puts you at 1 every other game. And I would say I kind of like the over. I'm a little hesitant because we know that he's got all the power. We want to see that accuracy. I think I'm going to go over. I just think 50s or 30s for this guy. 50-yard field goal for him is like hitting a 30. I'll be more respectful. It's like hitting a 40.
All right. Matt Gay went 3 of 5 from 50 plus in 2018. That is shocking. I thought he booted at least 5. Let me go to 2017. What did he do then? 5 of 6. So he was 5 of 6 in 2017. Man, that is surprising.
6 is the number I'll go with. I got him at 6.
I'll go 4.
Okay, so the over-under on that's 5.
Okay, yeah, that's a good
possible.
number.
Matt Gay was perfect.
Dude, that's what I thought. I thought every field goal he hit was 50. Like, I thought they took penalties when they were 4th down and short in the red zone to kick 50-yarders. That's what I remember. BCS Busters, I'm excited. Dude, it's coming through strong tonight. I'm excited to see how the tight end room does. Do you think we will see Buchanan? I do. I think we'll see him. Man, like we talked about, his name has been consistently brought up, not just by Whittingham, but by, coaches, players. He's been brought up a number of times, and I think he's going to be a guy that works his way into the rotation. Pretty, I don't want to say pretty prominently, but I think he has a consistent role and a consistent presence this season. So I think he's going to be productive. And I'm excited to see him, man. I just, from what we saw from his high school film, from what we saw, what we heard about him and his ability to high point passes, I think there's some real potential there for him to be kind of a big time player for Utah. Maybe not this year, but down the road for sure. Who else in that room excites you, Josh?
Hunter Andrews.
Yeah.
Hunter Andrews. Bentley's going to be nice and steady for us. So I'm glad to have him. A little bit of a veteran presence, guy that can kind of do it all. I like the tight end room. It'll be interesting to see how much that's utilized. Beck wasn't big on his tight ends in New Mexico, but it's all about personnel, right? And we have some talent in that room. So Yeah, it'll be interesting. I just want to see get back to using those tight ends.
Yeah, for sure. Using skill players.
Mm-hmm.
Over under on games where we have a defensive player get a TD on offense. I'd set it at 1.5 games. That's a great question. Man, what a great question. Um, man, 2.5, 2, 3, 2. I'll say 3. I'll say 3.
It's tough. I already said Smith Snowden's getting 15 catches, so if I want to stand my
Yeah.
ground, I got to go over that 1.5. But I'd say like 2. 2 sounds
Okay.
about right. I do want to see anytime we see Smith Snowden with the ball in his hands, whether it be on a special teams play or he just intercepted it, it's just exciting. The dude's vision on the field is incredible, and if that's something that he wants to do, let's do it.
Word. Yeah. Who else is excited for gadget players to do gadget things? Yeah. This is a good one. Vegas U. Do we think Smith will follow Mikey Matthews all over the field?
He ain't good enough to get Smith Snowden's attentions, if I'm being honest. Sorry, Mikey.
Yeah, I think if there's somebody that he's going to follow, it's going to be Quasi Gilmer. Talking to everybody, it sounds like he's the guy that has emerged as the star player. Now, maybe Smith, maybe Morgan, maybe they're a little petty and they don't want Mikey to get going at all. And maybe that's the case. But I don't see that. I think if there's a receiver to play that sort of star coverage on, it's Gilmer. He sounds like he's their guy this season. Let's see here. Any other questions we got?
I like that you called out this one. This is one I had my eye on too.
Are we tipping our hand by talking about our players?
He followed it up too, and yeah, he followed it up and said, "Will the opposition use this live show to put together a depth chart for us?"
Probably. It's so funny. Like, so I've got former coaches that I talk to and they talk about the depth chart, and like these coaches, man, like they know what's going on. Like they don't need anything from us. They know who the guys are going to be, and once we get into the season, like they use data and stuff to like figure out who's going to be playing where and how many snaps and all that. So like they're so far beyond this stuff. Like it's funny. Is Snowden a wide receiver when playing on offensive side of the ball? Probably. Maybe running back.
I'd hope we don't send him over the middle.
Running back, receiver, outside receiver, slot.
Yeah. Wildcat.
All types of stuff. Like think gadget player, right? Do you think we force more interceptions or force fumbles this year? I'm going to lean towards interceptions. Like I said earlier in the show, that number that I came across, 10 dropped interceptions last year for Utah. I think that has been a major point of emphasis, is converting those opportunities. And with guys like Smith Snowden and Teo Johnson going into, their third years in the defensive secondary, and with Scooby gaining the confidence that he did, I think Utah converts a few more interceptions. And obviously, Lander's going to get 1 or 2 over the course of the season. I think Jono being more comfortable, he could be a threat to get an interception or two. He played safety and he was a dynamic playmaker, a ball hawk in high school. And so, maybe that translates there as well. So I'm going to lean towards interceptions being the big takeaway number for Utah. Let's see.
I'm with you on the interceptions too. I'm just not.
This is a good question. I would say the hype died down, but I don't think that's a bad thing. I don't think that's indicative necessarily either of what's going on. I just think other guys have been talked about a little bit more, and And there's probably good reason for that, but there's probably also additional reasons for that. but I think we can still kind of count on Hunter Andrews to be a guy for Utah this season. I would be shocked if he's not. Who is the first Ute to win Player of the Week in the Big 12 this season? Oh man, what a question. Spencer Fano? Oh, I have a vote this year. I have Player of the Week votes this year in the Big 12. I've got to remember that. I got to remember to vote.
That's pretty fun. Just hype our guys up all season long. Just Spencer Fano vote every week.
Nah. Every other week. Every other week. It'll be. I don't want to give it away that I'm a biased media member.
Yeah.
I don't want it to be too obvious.
Justifiable,
yeah.
Though.
Let's see. This is a good one. Is this O-line really going to be this good? I mean, that's the question, right? We won't know until we see these guys go out and do it. And, it's a group that I think Fano and Lomu, they've justified the hype with what they've done so far. Lomu with his traits, he still has a lot to prove in terms of his game technique, where he's at in his game. But Fano, man, he's put himself on the map and really cemented himself last year with the way that he played. Now, for Utah and the unit, that's a different conversation. And I think last year isn't completely fair. It's not fair to assess how the line performed last year, based on their own execute. Like, there were a lot of things going on last year that limited their ability to be impactful. And so, with Dampier in the backfield, with the offense, I think that'll allow this line to showcase more of its strengths, to play up to its ceiling. And it's going to be up to this group to just go out and do it. But I think with what they have, with the point of emphasis that they have with the run game, I think that'll allow this group to play at a much higher level. So yeah, I do think this group can be that good, and I think they end up being one of the top offensive line units in the country, so long as they stay healthy and that. But yeah, I think this group is going to be pretty good.
Yeah, and just to add to that and kind of talk about that upcoming matchup that we have against UCLA, where Utah has a group that's already gelled together and can move fluidly together. UCLA doesn't really have that. They're still trying to figure out what that makeup is on their offensive line, and that's a huge deal. If your offensive line, if there's miscommunications and missed assignments because you don't know what the guy next to you is doing. That's where plays break down before they ever get started, and that's a huge leg up for us having that unit that just can step together.
And I think a big thing here, and we've talked about this, but Isaac Asiata's presence, on staff again, I think that's going to be really beneficial for this group this year to have somebody like that who's basically an extension of Jim Harding in so many ways. I think that's going to really benefit this group. And, to Shub's point here, Jaron Kump could be good. I think Asiata can really help Kump specifically. Kump is, to me, he is the big X factor. You've got two really good players, at the bookends. You need somebody in the middle guiding, dictating, calling out, what they need to do, calling out proper assignments and that sort of stuff. And I think that's where Asiata can really help Kump. So he's the big X factor, and he'll kind of determine where this line ends up, in my opinion.
I love that you call that Isaac. He's just excellent energy. The totally like a vibes guy in there. Like, you look at like a lot of that stuff on the offensive side of the ball. It's good to have Isaac in that room as a leader for those young men.
This is a good one. What split of carries do you think Wayshawn and Rogers will have? 60-40? And that's a great number, but I think it'll be even greater than that. I think, looking at New Mexico's Eli Sanders and what they had with Javen Jacobs and Nakari Rogers there in New Mexico, Sanders had a pretty sizable advantage there over everybody else. Obviously, Devin Dampier led the team, but it was Eli Sanders at 147 carries and then Nakari Rogers at 74. So, that's a pretty big jump. I think, I do think it'll be important. And Wayshawn talked about it. Like he needs Nakeri to be a significant presence. Um, I think it'll probably be 70-30 just between those two. Um, but I think Rodgers and then getting others involved in the run game will also be a thing. What do you think, Josh?
I like what you're saying. I think that's about where I'd put it, maybe in that like 70-30 range. Rodgers will definitely get his fair dose, but Wayshawn's going to eat for sure.
Speaking of running backs, can you set up a meeting with Coach Mark Atuaya so I can tell him thank you for the vibes? Man, he has been a bright spot. He's been a vibe changer, complete change. In that running backs room specifically, and that he's been a lot of fun following him along this year. Ivan with a good question. Who do you see, Josh?
I look at the legs and I see Zach Moss. I think this guy can be powerful. I think he can be speedy. I think he can, bring back the. I know this is tired, but Zach Moss when he did like I see some of that in Wayshawn, and yeah, I'd love that.
I think Zach is a fair comp. I think I always lean towards John White because Wayshawn is such a no nonsense runner. He's not gonna shimmy. He's not gonna like do these dead legs like Devontae Booker did. He's not an overly powerful runner like Zach Moss was, but he's got good athleticism. He's got good burst. He's decisive when he sees the opening, at the line of scrimmage. And to me, that's what I see. I see John White, obviously bigger. So it's not a perfect comparison, but in terms of just running style, I see John White.
Almost like taking the best of the two and putting them somewhere in the middle, maybe. Like, yeah,
It,
because he's not
it's
as
so
powerful, but he's
Yeah.
yeah.
It's so funny. He's got the body of like he's a taller Jalen Glover. Like when I saw him for the first time in spring, I was like, "Holy smokes, it's Jalen! What's he doing back here?" It's wild how similar they look. Let's see here. All right, I think we'll get out of here on this one. Nico has high praise from Yogi Roth and others as being a super talented and a dual threat. What does Utah need to do to shut him down? And to me, this was my big one of my big keys, one of my recipes. Part of my recipe to winning recipe was pressure rate, getting pressure on him. This offensive line, it's kind of a hodgepodge of transfer additions and that sort of stuff. And I think getting pressure on him is always the best way to disrupt a quarterback. So for me, getting to him, making him feel you, that's going to be the big key for Utah and slowing him down.
Yeah, chaos. Simple
Yep.
word. Everything you just said, want to echo, and just chaos. Make it confusing on an offensive line that's quite frankly not ready to go against a Morgan Scalley defense.
Yeah, for sure. Man, any other last thoughts, Josh, before we wrap this up? We've been going for a minute.
No, this has been fun. We said we'd go an hour and get out, and lots of awesome questions. It's fun to hear from you all and hear your thoughts, and we'll keep the conversation going. If you want to hop into the space tomorrow night, we'll start at 8:30 p.m. We'll be here all year on Thursday nights to talk about the games heading into the weekend, and then on Saturdays to do some post game discussion. You never know who will come into those. I know Bartle's been in those. A lot of other people. We had Eric Weddle in a space last year. We had Terrell Burgess. You just never know who's going to walk into that chat, and who you might have the opportunity to chop it up with. So we're here for you guys. We love hearing from you guys, and this is what it's all about. Bartle and I are on a mission to build a community and just bring us all together around this Utah football, University of Utah. We all love it so much, and again, just appreciative to be here, and I appreciate everybody's support that led to me having this opportunity. So very thankful, and love talking football with all of you.
Love it, man. Yeah, we'll be getting back into those Twitter spaces tomorrow night. That'll be a lot of fun. And again, appreciate everybody for tuning in tonight. We'll be back live post game Saturday night. with a quick live, and then obviously, Josh, you'll be doing another late night thread, I'm sure. Space.
It's gonna
Gonna
start
be
at
a
like
long
1
night.
a.m., bro.
That's gonna be a long one for you. Yeah, that's gonna be a long one. But again, appreciate you guys. Everybody tuning in, everybody supporting. It's been a lot of fun. We've got a lot of great plans this season. We'll get Cam, we'll get Tyson in here as well. I know that everybody's interested in them, and just know they've got a lot going on. But they're keeping tabs on things, and I'm keeping tabs on them. We'll get them here. We might even get them here on Sunday. So appreciate everybody. I'll be back at it tomorrow with another episode, and then man, Saturday night, baby. Let's get to it.
Let's go.